to do this. This is our third time
Mm,
meeting and chatting. I mean, we have collabed on other things, but this is important. I think the third one is important. The
yes.
number three is important.
Yeah, it certainly is. And today we're going to be talking about Freemasonry and symbology.
Yes, yes. Symbolism in Freemasonry
Mm.
has been something that I've recently started kind of allowing myself to go into, and I have really enjoyed it. It's been nostalgic because I've seen all of this symbolism as a child, growing up in the DDR, the Deutsche Democratic Republic. Most people don't know that about me, that I actually lived in the DDR for the first 8 years of my life before I moved to the UK. So uh,
Whereabouts exactly? Whereabouts did you live?
it was a town called Königs Wusterhausen, which translated is the home of the king. It's a small village just outside Berlin. It's actually really close to Berlin. It's considered to be part of Berlin, but it is not Berlin. I did not grow up in the big city, Berlin. I
Yeah.
grew up in this town. And I actually had the privilege of returning there last year, at the beginning of last year. And it was a lot of the stuff was very like nostalgic. There was like a lot of deja vus, a lot of places that I recognized, but I didn't remember much. I mean, I remembered obviously where I lived and the school and things like that, where I went, but seeing it change, I mean, but also some things hadn't changed, and
Mm.
the things that hadn't changed were 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 kind of worrying a little bit, almost like there wasn't much going on there, like there wasn't much in the way of development economically, and I think people were there weren't many people living there, not many young people. There was a lot of graffiti, a lot of piles of trash. It was quite sad in a way. But it's still a very beautiful town. There's lots of old buildings, churches. The cinema is still there. Um, I didn't obviously recognize anyone because it's like a long time ago. But yeah, but a lot of the street names haven't changed. I have family who still live there. Yeah, so that was a very, very beautiful experience for me. It's really weird to go somewhere where you grew up as a child that you, as a child, couldn't wait to get away from. But then when you return, you realize it was just a place. It was just cobbled streets and old buildings. And the old buildings are fascinating for me now because I have looked into architecture a lot. And so yeah, it's very weird. It's very weird.
I often
Uh,
think it's
yeah,
a strange kind of situation to be in, knowing what we know now and looking into Tartaria, and then you think of all the places that you've been before you started researching it, how differently you would have looked at these places and these buildings, knowing what you know
yeah.
now. And to go back and revisit all of these sites and towns and cities, wouldn't that be wonderful, knowing everything that we've taken in over the years and what we've learned?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but it starts to slowly dawn on you that okay, first of all, you realize that this experience that you had there was very, very much a superficial one because it was based on buildings and trees and streets. And then as you've had a life and you've traveled around different countries, I mean, living in England for me, living in Taiwan, going back there, you don't your brain has this incredible ability to forget negativity. So you can't even remember anything negative, even though you were isolated. There was a lot of negativity. Everyone could have been a spy. You couldn't read the Bible in your own home, you know? And if you did have someone knock at the door, you had to hide your Bible. And my family were incredibly religious. And so we had a lot of fears. But it's it's the fact that your brain does this for you, and I think you have to appreciate the power of the human brain, that it takes away the negative and somehow identifies those memories as negative, but retains everything that you need to get the nostalgia, to appreciate the, your family, your past, those people that helped you, to have some sense of evolution throughout your life, to have a sense of growing. Obviously, you are larger, so everything that you thought was like intimidating is no longer intimidating. The street is a lot smaller than you remember. Um, I mean, the road isn't even big enough for two cars, but to me, this road was the lifeline, the energy line to the rest of the world. And in a way, it helps you understand how children are going to see the world at a
Mm.
young age, and it probably could make you a better teacher. It could make you a better maybe father. Could make you sort of give people more space, more freedom.
Yeah.
But no, if I still lived there now, it would be very hard for me to look upon that situation as being a positive one.
Yeah.
Because it is a rundown area. I mean, it wasn't run down when it was under the DDR, and I think the DDR and communism gets a bad rap sometimes because we had great education. There was always food on the table. Yes, we weren't allowed to leave the country, which is a terrible negative, I think. If people can't leave the country, they can't compare their own lifestyle to other people. But I think also the symbolism on everything, like everything had a very particular sort of no frills packaging. And like ice cream, I didn't know what ice cream was until I went to the UK. So I never had an ice cream until I was like 9 years old. So
Wow.
so there's some things that seem so extremely far away from from um from like a modern Western lifestyle. But but maybe we need to remind ourselves sometimes of what the differences are, because there are people still living in like real strict communist regimes today, and in 2025, and yeah, I mean, I've never really thought about the differences. I think I was always intimidated by that. I always wanted to sort of hide my sort of my early childhood, because it was definitely getting in the way of making friends in the UK, and it was definitely getting in the way of like um, uh, being sort of part of the crowd, which is all you want when you're young. You just want to be
Mm.
accepted. You want to be able to amalgamate into the society. Which I don't know why you need to do that when you're young. Maybe how much time would you save if you didn't care about that and you were actually trying to build your own personal sort of mental kind of framework.
There are
But
people
maybe,
that do,
yeah,
aren't there? We all knew children at school that didn't
mm,
join in, and
yeah,
and and they were ostracized. Absolutely.
they got a
Uh,
hard time.
yeah,
Yeah.
they did. So, what have you been looking at with regard to Freemasonry?
I have been measuring things, measuring the logos. I have a lot of images that I could put through and show you later if you want, or anytime. Uh, but yeah, I've been looking at the hammer and sickle, the origin of it. I obviously now I know the connection between Russia and Great Britain and Germany. That was obviously something that had occurred already when I was born, long before I was born. But living in the DDR and looking at the world from well, looking at just your country because you can't look at anything else, and looking at this model empire that they were constructing, basically looking for a Moorish European lineage, and then creating a DDR fiefdom around it.